Hello guys, and welcome back to HighFleet. I'm 𝗏𝘂𝗍, and this is the next stage of the expedition. This episode is all going to be about picking which ships we're going to take. Grand Duke, you must choose the ships that will join us for the Khiva offensive. Now, you can see I've actually got a bit of extra cash here, which is nice. You've got the difficulty choice here. Hard is really hard, normal is hard. The only requirements we have are that we must have at least a range of 2,000 kilometers. Every time you add a ship, it will decrease the amount of range that you can travel, because obviously you've got to use fuel. Now the 𝗦𝘂𝗃𝗍𝗆 is already picked. It's basically a tanker. It extends the range of strike groups because it's got so much fuel. It's also a pretty good fighter. If we come up here to the ship roles, you can see that we've got air superiority, strike ship, interceptor, AA defense, tanker, early warning, aircraft carrier, missile carrier, nuclear missile carrier, some of which I've never used. The nuclear missile carrier I've never used. The aircraft carrier I've had, but it wasn't working. I'm hoping it's working now at full release. But there's a whole bunch of stuff. So we're going to have to basically take a look through and see what options we have. So this is a strike ship. This is called a Rook. It's got a thrust to weight ratio of 6, which is not bad. It means it's quite agile. It's got a speed of 280 kilometers and a range of 850. Now that's pretty good. But what's it got on it? It's got 2 NK-25s. That's it. It's got a 2A37 multi-cannon, which is good for short-range fighting, and it's got a Fab 1000, 4 Fab 1000 bombs on it. So it's not that fast at 280, but it's not that slow either. We could use it as a strike ship. It could get in there, it could bomb the enemy, and it could possibly do enough damage to win out. And it's very cheap at 6,660. Let's just take a look here. The Yars is a missile carrier. This vessel carries long-range conventional missiles. A tactical missile carrier, her reliable sturdy armour can protect her priceless payload from a close-range nuclear explosion. Just standing next to this vessel can make one rather uneasy. So, this is a strategic heavy corvette. I'm not sure how you would fire the KH-15. I can't see how a long-range weapon is going to be useful in a situation where you're in a combat situation. I think this is more flying towards an area and then attacking it from afar rather than getting into combat missions. It's tempting, but I don't know. Interceptor. Designed for intercepting aerial targets. A unique light interceptor armed with rapid fire 100mm artillery guns. Many Green Academy graduates have been assigned to the craft such as this and perished along with dozens of their peers. In the hands of a skilled pilot, however, the Lightning can work wonders. This really is a tricky ship to fly. I did use the Lightning as a base for my own ship, which I can show you here. You can ignore the Artful Dodger. That turned into a mess. Nope, we don't want that. The Angry Hornet. Now, this is 34,000. I mean, obviously, it's the price of 4 of these. More than that, even. Yeah. But the Angry Hornet can take down 10 ships on its own. But it started out as a Lightning, and it just grew and evolved from there. So in the middle of that, there's a Lightning, but the rest of it is obviously hardcore, battle-ready, kick some butt. Got some longbow aircraft carrier ships as well, but I think what we need is something like the Navarin, although that Navarin really didn't impress me. I'm thinking maybe if I swap the guns out, it may be better, but it's got a thrust-to-weight ratio of 6, which is not great. Okay, I'm going to grab one of these, a Fennec. It's an AA defense ship. It's designed for protecting aerial groups against enemy aircraft and missile strikes. Just in case we get attacked, I think it's going to be handy to have one of those in the arsenal. So that's what we're grabbing that for. Not so keen on the Lightning. I like the Rook because it's got the bombs underneath. Does it have... Yeah, it's got a 2A37 cannon. Could I possibly put... It's only got 2 engines. I'm just thinking I could upgrade that. Quite easily, I could upgrade that and increase the thrust to weight ratio, put better weapons on it. Maybe even increase the speed. I don't know how that would work. The 𝗦𝘂𝗀𝗃 is obviously an air superiority ship. Gotta keep an eye on my finances. I mean, the 𝗦𝘂𝗃 wasn't the most impressive ship. What's the Intrepid? We got 2 D80 Mallets. We got 2 R5 Zeniths and 4 jets. Whereas this one has got 2 bombs, 2 Zeniths, 2 AK-725s, and 2 ASO-75 flare. So it's a mainstay of the fleet. I think we're going to go with that. The 𝗦𝘂𝗃. And I think I'm going to go with 2 of those. So I'm quite happy from an attack perspective for that. So this is a tanker ship. Basically all this does is carries fuel. It really extends the length or the distance that these can travel. It's really fast at 590 kilometers, so it's not going to slow anything down. I'm going to grab that purely for that reason. I think that could really give us some options that I've not experienced before. So I'm quite looking forward to that. What I do want, some sort of radar. What are we called here? We're looking for early warning. Looking for an early warning ship, so that's going to be green. What does early warning look like? A radar. So not you, not you. Aha. Blimey, that's expensive. So maybe we'll have to build one. It's because the radar systems on it are very expensive, I guess. Okay, well, do you know what? I think we've got a pretty decent fleet right there. We could go for a 3rd 𝗦𝘂𝗃. 2, it's quite strong, and we should pick up a few extras as we progress. But with the tanker, we've gained so much extra distance. That could really be very beneficial. And the 𝗦𝘂𝗃, which is an AA defense ship. Basically, I'm not going to take that anywhere. It's just going to sit there and defend us against enemy aircraft or enemy missiles if we get tracked down. I am half tempted to pick up the Hornet at 34,000. Might be a little bit too early for that sort of heavy firepower. Okay. So that's got long-range missile. I mean, it's only 6,900. I'm going to grab that as well. And I'm going to see if I can utilize it somehow. You never know what might happen. Oh, the AA defense ship actually has radar on it as well. So, yeah, that's cool. That gives us an attack force and a long-range attack force. So, I'm quite happy with that. That's my choice. We've got 45,000 left in the bank. We're ready to go. We were days away from departing for Khiva to begin our offensive when that strange 𝗦𝘂𝗃 in a golden mask approached me. No 𝗦𝘂𝗃 can endure the open air for long, so many of them hide their faces. I'd grown used to that. But this one was unlike the others. People began to whisper when he walked by. Other 𝗦𝘂𝗃s called him Al-Sahir and treated him with a particular reverence. I know that Dowd questioned him. He tried to get him to talk about the people who came with him on the 𝗦𝘂𝗃𝗃, but he apparently didn't get very far. This 𝗦𝘂𝗃 convinced the crew of the 𝗦𝘂𝗃𝗃 to take the ship to Ur, and that is all we know about him. I cannot imagine what he did to convince them, but in doing this, he earned our eternal gratitude. Without the cruiser on our side, the Khiva offensive would be impossible. Grand Duke, allow me to speak with you. This was the first time I had ever heard his voice. The mask muffled it so much, I couldn't discern his age. I know you hope the Tarkans of Ghârat will support you against Khiva. The infamous Omar Khan has found refuge to the northwest of Ur. I believe he can be a loyal ally to you. Northwest of Ur, okay. If you meet him, I kindly ask you to give him this. The Master Elaine presents you with a small, delicate pot. The Elaine bows to you and leaves. Now, you can look inside the pot, and I have done, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to entrust the pot to my head of security for the time being. If you really want to know what's in the pot, ask me in the comments. So a Tarkan has found refuge in a city to the northwest of here. It would make sense to seek him out. Would you like me to brief you on the operation, Grand Duke? Certainly, Pyotr Igorovich. Very well. Our objective is to capture the Khiva reactor. The city of Khiva is in the northern reaches of Ghârat. It is protected by the governor's own squadron. We need to force them out of the city. It is imperative that the reactor remains completely intact, which means that nuclear strikes against Khiva are not an option. However, we will face far worse threats to the success of this operation before we even reach Khiva. According to our intel, there are 5 gathering strike groups equipped with nuclear weapons somewhere in Ghârat. I strongly suggest avoiding them at all costs. The strike groups move from city to city on average once a day. If the enemy spots us and has time to report it, strike groups will get too close to us and fire missiles. So we need to steer clear of them and track down their movements at all times. Information about the movement of strike groups can be obtained from radio interception, or by capturing one of the troposcator communication stations. Due to Ghârat's vast size, the enemy has to use these stations to send messages. Even one such station could supply us with priceless intel on the strike group's whereabouts, as well as the location of their aircraft carriers and their missile carriers, all of which is of extreme importance if we are to prevail in this operation. The aircraft carriers, for one, can deploy attack aircraft from as far away as 2,000 kilometers. We must always keep this in mind. And lastly, there are also transport ships moving to and fro between the cities of Ghârat. They are hardly, if ever, escorted and could be easy pickings for us, unless they know that we're in the area, and then they add extra support. The captured transport ship could be quickly ransomed for a sizable sum in any city, Duke, and we could really use some extra funds. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be doing is going to meet with the Tarkans, but let's go down to the base. Let's check the supplies. Let's make sure we've got as much fuel as we can possibly hold. And that actually gives us quite a lot of fuel. Primarily, we have so much fuel because of the Skylark, which is just a fuel carrier, basically. So it gives us an extra double massive fuel tank consumption capability, which is great. 6,500 kilometers that can travel. It's insane, really. You could, I suppose, just create loads of ships similar to this and just send them out and use them as scouts. But yeah, we've only got 37,000 in the bank, so I have to be real careful about what I do. Alright, that's enough for this episode, guys. Thank you so much. Please join us again when the actual battle, or the war, will begin. I look forward to seeing you. Take care. Till then, bye for now.